What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. So if this is your first time, right now I'm doing an awesome series for Pokemon, trying to collect a bunch of different vintage sets. My last few videos has been about this series. Very exciting stuff. So I will cue you guys in. For the ones that are new here, welcome. Right now I went back all the way to the WotC era for Pokemon, as early as the WotC promos, Neo Genesis, talking about Team Rocket, a bunch of exciting stuff. And I went back to some old stuff as far as EX Ruby Sapphire, looking at stuff like Holland Phantoms, Team Rocket Returns, EX Fire Red Leaf Green, a bunch of really expensive sets. So if you have followed across this journey thus far, I've been picking up a bunch of bulk stuff, a bunch of big hitters, and it's getting pricey very quick. I did a recent video talking about a lot of different ways that you can get these cards for these sets, and I gave some pros and cons, some tips on what you should do as far as collecting a master set versus a set, and which sets you should go for, and how many at one time, right? So right now I'm not looking for modern era cards, but I am having a hard time right now, basically running into a brick wall, right? So you can only put stuff on social media so many times before people don't have the bulk stuff that you're looking for, which is rather 20 years old right now. So it can become very difficult, and then in the end you have to resort to different things that you can do to get the cards that you need. In a sense, fish people out, right? You have to excite people and get them to come out to give you the stuff you need, and sometimes it takes giving up things that you don't want to give away. So what I would like to start with right here, we're looking at a 2016 Pikachu Poncho XYP. This is the Mega Charizard Pika Poncho, and the market is just crazy right now. I've noticed that a lot of Japanese cards across the market are starting to die down. You've probably noticed that as well, right? The Japanese market is not doing as hot as it once was, especially for the ponchos, and that's why it's kind of a scary move to jump into one of these right now. I do think this card we're looking at is a Grail card. I do think over time this card will continue to carry value, right? It's a really awesome, one of the best ponchos out there, one of the best cards for Pika out there, and it has come down quite a bit. Now what we're looking right now is Alt's website, and we're looking between $3,500 to about $4,700, right? And there's a few different sales. PWCC, I'm pretty sure the $3,500 one was not legit. I'm not quite sure. It looks kind of weird, but it did come straight out of Japan. So this was sold out of Japan. This was not sold from America. And if you've noticed, right, if you look on sales and comps, a lot of prices will vary greatly depending on where it comes from. And if you pay attention for the comps, you'll notice that a lot of things sell at very drastically different prices depending on where the card is sold and listed from, whether it's Japan or China or America or Canada. I notice a big disparity between the prices. But the reason why I bring this card up today, right, is because I put some of my stuff up for sale. So right now I'm resorting to selling some stuff to put cash up to get the cards I need, because a lot of people won't cash, right? So maybe cash will bring people out to purchase those things that I need and talk them down for cash deals. Sometimes people will drop the price if you do a bundle deal to get a lot of stuff versus doing a trade where they want like 80% for trade value, right? So that means your stuff is valued around 80%, give or take. Now, the reason why it's rough, and I bring this up, because when I put my stuff out there, often I have a lot of friends who have some high-end cards, and this is one of the cards that I was actually offered. So now you run into a pickle, a dilemma per se, where you have to think about, do I want this card? And you get brain fog, right? Like, or do I want to keep collecting the collections that I'm going for, right? I'm collecting 7 different sets, and it takes a lot. So I would be, roughly selling right around $7,500 in cards. I have 2 cards I'm trying to sell. And one of them is a 2016 Pikachu Festa. The second one is a no rarity Japanese base first edition Charizard 006 sign and sketch by Arita himself. A very rare card, very expensive. Now at the high, both of those cards were worth more than $7,500, of course. The Festa is a PSA 9. So a person had offered me this. So now I have to think, do I want to take this for roughly, $4,500 in value towards that $7,500 and get about $3,000 to $3,500 cash, put that towards the cards I want? Or do I want to say that I don't want to go for this card and let it go? And that's a really hard decision. Really hard right now. So you know, it's just something, it's a choice that you have to make. Now, looking at the Festa, this is the one I have. This card was sitting around $5,000 and $5,500. You see right here, there was a best offer sale April 29th for $5,168. This card is also cooled off just a little bit. It's hard to get the asking price of $5,000 now because a 10 is going for roughly $7,000. So there is an auction for $3,400. And the hard thing is that most people are going to gravitate to the last sale, the last comp. So they're going to look at that $3,400, and that's where they're going to try to offer. They don't care that, you know, around April there was something for $5,100. And then if you look at the view all for the transactions, this card does not sell a lot. So there's card prices in I think $2,000 range from like 2022, but you definitely don't want to use that. So there's not a lot of data to really go off of from 2024. So that's another thing to think about. Do you want to hold your cards, right? Because you're going to take a loss. The values are going down. Japanese is going down. These grails that once were are going down. Are they a long hold, or do you let them go? Do you take a loss and do you put that stuff into something else? I think Team Rocket Returns is a phenomenal set. You don't see many out there. If you can complete something like that, that whole set will probably do a lot more long term than one card like this one right here, right? So I think it would be a smart move for me to continue collecting my sets. So unfortunately, those two cards will have to go, but we'll still have to think about this one right here. And then looking at this one right here, so this one we're not really going to talk about too much. This is just cementing my point, right, that a lot of these cards are going down in value. So this one, October 3rd, did sell for $5,000, but you do see a couple prices right around $3,600 to about $4,600 PWCC. And this card is all over the place. So right there, it's pretty volatile. It's hard to tell if you want to pick this card still up in a $5,000 range, because just September era, it sold between $3,600 to $4,600. So this card is kind of risky to pick right now. You would say, hey, $3,600 is probably a good deal. Or is it, right? Is it the true market and somebody really just FOMO'd and went in and bought this card for $5,000? Nobody really knows, right? Now, moving over here, this is something else that I have resorted to. I talked to you guys about eBay and trying to snipe some stuff, looking up all the sets I want, filtering down, and trying to find some of the hot cards that I need. So everything you pretty much see on this screen are cards right now that I am trying to pick up. We have quite a few Neo Genesis, Team Rocket stuff, Team Rocket Returns. We have some WotC promos down here, the Suicune. We have the Dark Gyarados. And one thing to consider, like I was talking about in some past videos, right? So we have the Team Rocket Returns, the Rockets Entei EX, a beautiful card. And there's like 11 or so cards like this in the set, to include the Snorlax that you see up here above the Dark Magneton. And you see how expensive these cards get. For example, this card right here is a bid war, right? I'm trying to get this one, and right now is at $102.50 for a PSA 4. A PSA 4. But one thing that I try to pay attention to is that I look at the condition of these cards, because depending on when it was graded, you see this is a 9 series, so it was graded not too long ago. PSA tends to grade a lot more harsh on these old cards. So this card is very clean. The back of it is very clean. So I would say this is probably better than a 4 with a different grading company, and that's why people are willing to pay for the card and not the grade, right? The card is very clean. I'm going to crack this out if I win it, but $100 for a PSA 4 and it's still going. It's not cheap by any means. Now also, you know, trying to pick up some of these cheap holos like the Magneton, the Gyarados. They're not really cheap, but right now the price point for them are still pretty cheap. The Vileplume sitting around $5.50, still getting bidded on. You have the Marowak, some of these non-holos. I mean, these are steals right here. The Gyarados, 99 cents, $1.04 for the Marowak. The Feraligatr, I'm sitting right now around $14.50, and this is probably about, I don't know, a $50 to $80 card. Based on its condition, right? We have the Venusaur EX. That's the last one I needed, the big trio for the Fire Red Leaf Green. So I definitely need that Venusaur. The Zapdos, I don't have any of the big hitters right now except the Articuno for Fire Red. This one right here is also a very expensive card. The Zapdos EX is really, really awesome. And you got to be careful, like this Ampharos. I know it'll go up because it's a first edition, right? So you got to pay attention to that little stamp. This card is not going to stay at the low price that it's at right now. But I am looking at just all types of different cards, trying to fill out these sets. And I've basically resorted to this. Like I said, I reached out for bulk several times and people are not really hitting me back as much as they were in the beginning. So, moving along, I'm going to do an update again soon. I have some more cards coming in. I'm probably going to pick up at the post office for this, week coming up, and then filling out some more of the binders, and then do another update video showing y'all where I'm at on these 7 sets. It's very exciting. I have like 8 of the big hitters from Team Rocket Returns coming in, not the gold stars, but some really nice, beautiful cards. Some should even be near mint. Very, very pricey stuff. So let me know what y'all would do, right? Let me know y'all's take. Would you let go of some of your collection? Is it worth it, right, to put into the bigger sets? I would rather have collections that I can look at, binders full of cards, older eras, instead of one card hoping that it just sits there forever and goes up, because that's not always the case. So let me know what y'all would do. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Let me know what y'all are collecting, and I'll be back again soon. I'll see y'all later. Have a blessed day. Out.